Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the book Elizabeth I, Red Rose of the House of Tudor by Kathryn Lasky, and this is in a very popular teenagery book series called The Royal Diaries. That is where an author takes a fictional diary of a certain princess, and some of them are well known and some of them are not as well known. But this particular this particular character, Elizabeth I of England, is well known. Everyone knows who that is. Now, before I really start this review, I want to say, look everyone, I'm not wearing the sweatshirt I keep wearing. I'm wearing something else, so yay. And if someone doesn't know what that's a reference to, that is, for the longest time I was wearing just the same sweatshirt just because it was so comfortable, and I'm sure some people got sick of saying that, so I wore this instead. Now, this book is a really good read. I enjoyed it, even though I read it later in life. I was not a child or not a young adult, middle school age when I was first reading this book, and I still really much enjoyed it. It does really a good job at setting the time period that Elizabeth I lived in. And this is not about her reign as queen. This is when Elizabeth is 14 years old and living at court with her father, brother and sister, and stepmother. And she wasn't well loved by her father. Everyone thought she was supposed to be a boy, and her father thought she was going to be a boy, and obviously she is not. And so the relationship between Henry VIII and Elizabeth I is really strained, and Elizabeth is really confused. She does not know where she belongs with her father. She wants to be loved by her father, just like anybody does. And she just is really confused and she's also kind of confused about her mother's death. Her mother was Anne Boleyn, and she was beheaded, so she's also really confused about that and wants to know about that. And this book hits kind of close to home because I don't have the best relationship with my father, so even when I read it later in life, I wasn't a child when I read this, that was something I could still relate to. Now, I read this on audio, and it's read by Josephine Bailey, who also narrated Rasputin's Daughter, which I also did a book review for a while back. Now, what I loved about the book, I loved that this topic was something that I could relate to, and I also thought that Josephine Bailey's voice was absolutely adorable, like it always is. I've read other books or listened to other books where she's the narrator, and it's always the cutest thing ever. I just want to throw that out there. It's the cutest thing ever. And I like that it went into some detail about the lasciviousness of the court, but of course they can't go into too much detail, and which is good because I really, really, really do not want to read a porno, okay? And they don't need to go into that much detail. This is for children, and I don't want to read that. And it seems that when people write for adults, they spend a lot of time with sex scenes, and I don't want to read that. I don't always want to read that. I'm not a prude or anything, but there are times I don't want to read that, or there's times it gets a little bit more than I want to hear about. I don't want to know. Yeah, I don't want to know things, okay? And so I liked that they didn't go into that much detail, because they really can't, because this is scholastic. It's for children. It's for schools. They can't go into that much detail. They shouldn't go into that much detail, and they don't go into that much detail. So, yay. And I think this will be a short read for children. If you're trying to get them to read more for the new year, this is one I definitely recommend if they're into that subject. Or if you're not sure if they're into that subject or not, I would recommend this book for them. It's just, I found out it's a really easy read, and I read this in print and on audio. And for audio, I think it's only like a 2.5-hour book. But that's actually a narrator reading it, so it might be different. But it's not that long of a book. Now, what I did not like about the book, I did not like how Queen Mary, who would be Queen Mary I, Princess Mary, who would be Queen Mary I of England, Mary Tudor, was portrayed in this book. Elizabeth portrays her as being very vindictive and really mean-spirited, but we know from history that that really isn't true. During their younger time, I think that Mary kind of related to Elizabeth. They both had the same issues. Their mothers were both discarded, and it's been known that she loved children. She was godmother to many children, and during her reign as Queen Mary I, she really wanted a child, and I don't know if that was just to continue the succession, but she really wanted a child, and she was known to have what we would call now phantom pregnancies, where you think that you're pregnant, but you're not. And her and Elizabeth had the same situation, and her being vindictive and cruel and cheating at cards, as Elizabeth said, was not true, and the issues only started to occur when Queen Mary actually became queen, and really, and it was really over religion, and because Elizabeth was a strong Protestant, and Mary was Catholic. But other than that, during their years, I don't think she would have been that vindictive. I think that they were kind of in the same situation. They weren't really loved by their father, and I think that they had the same situation. But overall, this book is a really good book, and I'm glad that I listened to this again or read it again. I know it's not reading because it's an audio, but I'm glad that I was able to read this again and show and review this book for the new year. I always forget to do this in videos, and I always mean to, but I always forget, and I think it's really cool. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. It really means a lot to me, and I just really enjoy this, and I love making videos and reviewing books and things like that. So thank you so much. And if you've read this book, maybe if you were younger, or if you are a parent and you had a child that read this book, let me know. I'd really like to know, because I love commenting with you guys. So please like, subscribe, and share my videos. And Happy New Year. Bye.